Hey, it's Ross O'Loughlin here, and today I want to share with you the single greatest email copywriting tip I could possibly give you. This is a tactic that I've used constantly, and it has a massive impact on the overall performance of my email copywriting, and it is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to some of my clients every year without a shadow of a doubt. And the reason I'm sharing this is because I'm just back in Montreal. I'm looking out the window here. It is freezing. And I spent the last 7 days down in Florida enjoying the beach. And I came back, and one of my clients had messaged me while I was away. And they had written this amazing email. They had written this amazing email that they were super proud of. And they were so excited, and they sent it out. And what they saw was that it had the worst open rate they had ever seen in their entire life, and they couldn't understand it because this is not an inexperienced business owner, wasn't someone that was a newbie at copywriting, very well attuned to their email list. But they sent out this email and they expected it to do great. And not only did they hear crickets, but they looked at the stats and the open rate was a fraction of what it usually is. And that's because they weren't employing this tactic that I'm about to tell you. Now, I'm not going to say that open rates are what you should be focused on because they're not. Open rates are a big, in my experience, they're a vanity metric. They don't actually do all that much. Tracking them is not an indicator of how well your email copywriting is going or how well you're doing in terms of your email marketing. In fact, some of the best emails I've ever written have had the lowest open rates, and that's because it's not necessarily about does your email get opened. It's about what happens to the people who open the email and what action do they take after reading it. Right, that's really what you want to be focused on with solid email copywriting. But it is important to pay attention to open rates. You don't want to optimize your marketing for open rates because if you did, you'd just have your mother on your email list and you'd be guaranteed a 100% open rate every time you sent an email. But that's not how you're going to run a business, right? So you don't want to optimize for open rates, but you do want to be paying loose attention to them to understand what's happening email to email as you're mailing your list. Because with this client, they did see a stark, sharp drop in their open rates, and they thought it was because it was the subject line, which is typically what most people do, right? They think subject line equals open rates. And that's very true to an extent. But if you see a big drop in your open rates, it's not necessarily because you had a crappy subject line or a poor email. Oftentimes it's because you hit the dreaded promotions tab, right? And that's really important to ask yourself is, hey, if I send an email and out of nowhere it has a fraction of the open rate, is it because I hit the promo tab? And if you figure that out, or if that's a theory you're working from, um, you can start to build up the practice of how to keep yourself out of the promo tab. Right? That's really what I want to talk to you about today. Because if we can keep you out of the promo tab and in the primary, it will do more for your email marketing than anything else. Right? It doesn't matter how good your copywriting is if your emails aren't getting read. They're just it makes no difference, right? It's the same thing with page speed these days, right? If you're having ads on Facebook or YouTube and the people that are clicking to your site, if the page doesn't load fast enough, doesn't matter what's on the page, doesn't matter how good the landing page is. If people don't get to the page, if they bounce and leave because your page didn't load fast enough, doesn't matter. Same thing here. Doesn't matter how good your copywriting is. If it doesn't get delivered, people can't read it. And if it doesn't get to the primary inbox, chances of people reading it even lower, right? And by getting your emails in the primary tab, it will have a huge impact on your business. Same way it's had a massive impact on my clients' businesses, right? So promotions tab, if you don't know what it is a tab in Gmail, essentially, that is the best indicator about what your email, how your email is being read by all the email service providers out there, right? There's very complex algorithms running in the back end of all these email service providers, Yahoo, AOL, Hotmail, Gmail, all the free ones that people tend to use, which are probably being used by your subscribers. And they all are kind of looking at the same things, but they weight them differently. For the most part, you definitely want to be focused on Gmail as your testing ground, because if you can get into the primary tab of Gmail, that's the 80% win, right? From the 20% of a result or 20% of your effort, right? Because most of your email subscribers, most of the subscribers on my list, on my clients' lists, they're all using Gmail, either a free account or they're using some sort of business-based Gmail account for their the backbone of their email service provider, right? So if you can keep out of the Gmail promo tab, chances are you'll do very well with all the other ones, and for most of your subscribers, it'll hit the primary, right? Now, this is not about email deliverability, because email deliverability is a very, very complex topic, or rather, I should say, this is about email deliverability, but we're not going to cover the whole range of what goes into it, because there's a lot, right? Your domain history, your sending history, your reputation, the IP of the reputation, or the reputation of the IP your emails are being sent from. There's a huge number of them, and you would want to look into that if you're having severe primary or spam issues where your emails are just not getting delivered, or they're constantly going into the primary tab even after what I talk about here. Yeah, you might want to look into that stuff. But for the most part, I'm just going to talk about looking at the individual emails themselves, right? What's going on inside of your email, okay? And there's like three parts to an email, really, right? There, if you look up here, there's the subject line, right? Then there is the contents at the high level, meaning your images. And then there's also the keywords. Keywords slash copy, right? So the contents here is like what's in the email, right? Oops, if we go back here. Images, links, etc., right? All that stuff, what's in the email. And then the keywords, what's being said, what are you using in it? That's the sort of stuff that you definitely want to be looking at, right? These are the three main parts of any email. There's also, in addition to that, there's the styling. Are you using a lot of HTML? Are you using a lot of, it's kind of related to the images there. But if your email looks and feels and sounds like a promotional email, number one, that's going to be the issue. You can just see styling isn't coming up on the screen there, but let's just put that here, right? So styling, lots of CSS, etc. That also can be an issue, right? So what you want to just look at is what's going on in my email. If I send that email to a Gmail account, does it end up in the primary or does it end up in the promo, right? And if it ends up in the promo, why, right? And you definitely want to be looking at the various elements here, right? Your subject line, right? What's the contents? Are there lots of images in there? What happens if I take the images out? You can see my head's in the way here. Can I move my old camera here up the top left, top right? Yeah. So what are the images? Do I have a lot of links in there? Where are the links going? Are the links working? And then what's the keyword and copy that I'm using inside in the email? This is what Gmail is looking at. This is what all the email service providers are looking at when it comes to the contents of your email. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you do whatever you can to test and see if I take this out of the email, does it work? If I put that in the email, does it work? Right? And by testing and isolating what's causing your email to go to the promo. If you remove that, then you can train the system essentially to make sure that you end up in the primary most of the time, right? It's all about finding the elements that are causing Gmail to go, you know what, this is actually a promotional email, and you definitely want to be looking at language for sure, right? Look at your emails and see, hey, what are the sorts of things that I might be saying in here that might have Gmail thinking this is a promotional email. If you're using words like save 20% or $500 off, right? All the sort of stuff that marketers would use, depending on your space, you might be using certain keywords that definitely would indicate this is a spam or a promotional email. We all see what those emails look like in our spam box. I'm not going to repeat some of the keywords here because I'm not sure if YouTube would like it, but that's the sort of stuff that you want to look for in your inbox, right? Or in your emails to make sure they end up in the primary inbox. So that's quick video just to answer that. If you'd like help with this stuff, if you would like some help with getting your email marketing in tip-top shape, or making sure you're doing the best job possible to be converting folks with the emails that you send, just go below this video, right? There should be a link for a rapid list assessment. You and I can jump on a quick call, take a look at your email marketing to see what's working and what's not. We can look and see what's possible over the next 90 days, figure out what's maybe stopping you from converting more prospects, and we can come up with a quick plan, a quick kind of 3-step plan for you to be able to implement and hit those growth goals over the next 90 days. So if that's interesting to you, click the link below